Welcome everybody to the Filmmakers Room. Thank you so much for being here. But before we start, please hit subscribe, share, like, comment, because this today is going to be a very special podcast because we brought not only one guest, we brought two guests, and we brought a little bit of my home, a little bit of Latin heritage. So I'm so glad. Welcome to our two special guests today. We got Mel and we got Susana, and I think it's better for you to introduce yourself and talk about a little bit where you come from. So, come on, Mel.
Hey, hi. Thank you for having me. My name is Melani, and I come from Puerto Rico. I'm a creator. I'm not just a filmmaker, I'm also a photographer, and I'm very interested in everything that is the arts. Um,
There you go. Come on, don't be so frightened now, okay? And Susana.
Well, hi, thank you for having me here as well. I'm from Medellin, Colombia. I'm 21 years old and I'm basically also a creative. I love being behind the camera and also in front of the camera. I have experience in both. I have done a lot of short films, I take pictures, I'm a photographer, I'm a scriptwriter. I do basically everything that could be done in filmmaking.
So when I was thinking about bringing you on, obviously I look up the highlights and I couldn't resist that you have three things in common, right? You're young, you're woman, and you are Latinas, and that's very powerful. So let's go ahead and start with what do you think you bring to the table? What are your new stories? What are your ideas? What are your goals as where you come from? What do you think you're some kind of unique or special? So, you know, go ahead.
for me, I think the biggest thing about being a creative, it's literally that just creating the future and everything that it's in my mind. I try to bring it from an idea to the real world. So I just see a very bright future for everyone. I really don't know. I just go with the flow and whatever comes my way, I try to just take that challenge and crush it.
There you go.
Well, for me, I think being a Latino woman here, like in Florida, it's not as hard as it is in many other places because there's a lot of us here and there's a lot of opportunity for everybody. And if not, we create our own opportunities. I think that's one of our biggest strengths as Latino women, that we create our own opportunities. And we like, if we don't belong in a place, we just make our way through and we just stand our ground. I think that's one of the biggest strengths that we have, coming from such a cultural and difficult in a way background, because to be honest, growing up in Latin America, it's very different to like growing up here. And I think you learn to value that and to have your own voice, because Latino voices are very strong, not only in women, but it's actually stronger in women. But I think in all Latinos, we have a very strong voice because of our background.
Are you saying we're very loud?
Yes, and it's
Who's
really good.
loud?
It's really good because then people notices us in what we do, and they value us or they learn to do it because we get things done, and we do what we have to do to thrive in any environment. So
Yeah, that's great. And getting things done, Mel, I know that you get computers done. I know you like the technology side of all of this creative process. What was that it took you from being from Puerto Rico to end up in this creative industry? Was it the technology? What was the passion that sparked that creative side in you?
Um, well, I did grow up with a digital camera. I think the first time I took a picture, I was probably like 8 years old, and that just changed my life. And I see the technology just as a tool to create that reality that I have in my brain. As a photographer, we usually stage everything, right? Or we capture something in a very peculiar way. So having technology is the tool to make it real. Now, when you say about building computers and whatnot, I never thought that was going to be my path. I just had it in me. I grew up also being a gamer. And that comes with storytelling a lot. So for many, many years, I was very into just those stories, and I always wanted to create something for myself. I never really intended to share it with anybody else. So just being in that virtual space and creating that for myself was very fulfilling. So just 1 year ago, I decided to go into computer technology, well, computer information technology. And I just stumbled upon the program, the digital media program, and I said, well, no, that's something that I've been passionate my whole life, so let me just try it. And while taking the classes, I discovered that I had a natural talent for these things, and it's things that I never had a name for. It was just raw talent, I guess. And just being with people that are as creative in different aspects felt like, oh my God, now we can just bring all these things together. And the technology aspect, it's huge. It's just where we're going. And I don't think we need to strive apart from it, but work alongside with it. And again, it's just creating. I feel like we all have the power to create something, regardless if it's with our hands, with our brains, with our words, with drawings, anything. Everyone has it, and just mixing all those things is very important to me. Initially, I wanted to go into computers because I'm a girly in STEM. So I just wanted to have that space also for Latinas and for women because that is a male dominated space. And I just wanted to destroy it from the inside, like get in there, break the mold, and create opportunities for everybody else. So now, just with filmmaking, with storytelling, I feel like that is even more possible than ever.
Yeah, keep being loud.
Definitely.
Yes,
I don't
I
think we're
love this.
loud. I feel like we're passionate.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, I don't think we're loud. I feel like other people are used to being quiet.
Oh, that's powerful. And what do you think, Susana? I also want to see what you came from. Now you're a director. You're an award-winning director. That's amazing. So you already made some short films, and you won in the 48-hour Orlando Film Project. Tell us a little bit about your process.
Okay. I started in front of the camera. I started being an actress since I was very young. I was a theater actress and I had a degree in that. But then I got into acting for film and I just fell in love with filming in general. And when I started learning like bits of every aspect of filmmaking, I found that like that was my true passion. Like not just being in front of the camera, but like the whole like aspect of filmmaking. It was my like my dream come true. And as I said in the interview that they made for me in the college, the one that's in YouTube, it's like I felt something was missing. Like I was happy, yes, and I love acting and being in front of the camera, but it was not enough. You know what I mean? But when I got like took a step behind the camera and got to learn everything that surrounds filmmaking, I think that makes me mm, like an overall creative, like a creative director. Now I know how to handle the actors because I know what that's like, and I know how to handle the equipment because I know what that's like, and it's just integral. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think that's where I started, and it's I don't know, it's my love. Acting, it's my love, and it will always be. But taking a step behind the camera also it means a lot to me, and it makes me a better artist.
Of course. So you two women are, in my view, are about to blow up now that you enter the digital media world, and you're just building yourself up to be out loud and tell your voice and let everybody tell what is all about you, what your stories about, your ideas. Now, we did talk about your similarities, but also you got very huge distinctions that enhance each of you. And I already saw some of those. I can't wait to see more. But some of those is that you definitely bring to the table your visual, powerful imagery, and Susana brings other skills like directing and maybe or business oriented or. But I want to have a discussion here, and please spice it up. Yeah, be Latinas. Um, so now, what do you think is the relationship between visual driven and story driven when you're trying to do a digital media project? What do you think? Um, how does that describe what one has inside? Because you're more. Let me explain maybe to people. You're more the visual, and you're more the story driven, right? Let's have that discussion.
I'll go first and just touching a little bit on what Susana said previously and just a background or background a little bit. I am not a performer at all. I feel so uncomfortable being in front of a camera. I have always been behind the camera and that is my reality, right? Through a screen, never in front of it. So having that connection and that knowledge into the digital era is very meaningful because it complements each other in a way. I feel that, let's say a book, right? It's a different kind of storytelling. It's not like I don't think I will ever write a book, but it's really difficult for me to think those words. Everything I see, it's not like I created per se, I just notice it. So for me, the visual world is very, very meaningful. And like I mentioned, from a screen, right? So usually what I see, even in video games, you don't really read a lot. You play, you live that image, you are transported into it. So when you get the understanding of the written story, oh my god, that was so challenging. It's still challenging for me. I just see stories as images and like a video, but I don't have sound for it. I don't have words for it. It's not like I didn't care, but I feel like I express my truth through colors, through it's like you get emotions from something visual. And with the rise of digital media and the digital era, it's very beautiful. Even when you look at reels, when they're done good, they can be so powerful, even within 10 seconds, 15 seconds. So I feel like that is a great evolution of storytelling. And it takes writing, it takes the power of being able to have the words mixed with the visuals in a way that affect the people's brain, right? Um, so yeah, that is.
I'm gonna do the most dumbest follow-up question. Are you a visual learner, or you just express what you have in your mind visually?
Uh, I express myself visually.
So you don't consider yourself a visual learner necessarily.
No, I learn by doing.
Got it.
Yes, so even that, just being behind the camera, playing with the camera, playing with the computers. I love hardware. I'm not a software person. I love touching things and doing my craft with my hands. I think that is one of my gifts and my blessings, and being able to transform with my hands. But definitely, I do not transform words.
Got it. Got it. But we're gonna talk about that now. But let's see the other side of this of the story. The story of the story.
So I'm completely the opposite. And like Mel said, we complement each other, and that's why like we work as a team because she brings the visual and I bring the words basically. Because I know how to write a script. I don't know how to make it visual, right? I can tell you details about like curtains and colors and blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to making it, it's so hard for me because then I'm like, I really have no clue. And it's contradictory a little bit, but it's just, I don't know, I'm not that visual and I can't imagine things that way. So when I see something or when I read something, it comes literal in my mind, right? So it's not like I imagine if it's not written, then I don't know how to shift it, kind of that's how I would describe it.
But you do see the, for example, you do see the plot points. You do see the structure. you do see the whole story. Is that transcribing those words into image? That's where you're trying to obviously better yourself.
And I think one of the other things that like are my strength points, it's that I know shots. Yeah, I know the tech side of it. You know, I know how to play with the camera, so I know how to, you know, how if the camera goes like in this position, it will look better, and then kind of the proportions and stuff like that. But when it comes to set design, I'm a disaster. I can't. And it was so funny. I'm just gonna give you a real example. When we were filming the our last short film, I was directing and everything, and Mel was like, "Okay, so what do we want here? Like, how is the set gonna be? Do you want this here or this here?" And I'm like, I don't know. I have no clue.
Yeah, but I was like, I need to know the motion. Are we gonna have this? Is it gonna be blue? Is it gonna be white? Is it gonna be beige? What's going on?
And I was like, I don't know. I just know that I want the camera to move this way and then reveal this and then go to the mirror. Where is it gonna be? And I'm like,
It happens. It happens to me all the time. That those conversations that you go with the director of cinematography. In my personal experience, it's always like, well, Andrew, I just need more information. Just give me something. Give me whatever. Give me something.
Who needed? I feel like one of my backgrounds also is art therapy, and it does help a lot. The color help people process emotion, and it also generates emotions, memories. Even a color can remind you of a smell. It's crazy how our brain works, right? And again, I come from an island, and one of the things I used to do a lot was just sitting and taking everything in, right? Again, like I said, I'm not the creator of that. I'm just the spectator. And I like to document that. That's it. Like I just like documenting.
you know what's funny? It is that I do the same, but I just like sit on like a park, right? And just watch people go by and just think about the stories that follow them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's funny how like we do the same thing, but we view it differently.
We view it different, and I'm gonna go for that direction, because this all came to be because as a teacher I was giving them the difference on which process of thinking do you use. Do you think in words or do you think in image? But literally yesterday in the graduation, I was just beside one of the I think he was an English teacher, and we were casual talking, right? And I don't know how the topic was brought up. I think it was because about reading. We were talking about what was the most important thing that the new generation aren't, taking advantage of because of AI and all this other stuff. And we were talking about reading. And I asked him, what do you think about producing images and reading words? Or I don't know how the conversation went, but he did change my mind a little bit. He said something that I didn't see before, and he just blew my mind. And this is just an English teacher. He was like, I told him like, what do you think is more powerful, the words or the image? And he told me something that blew my mind. He told me words are also image. They're hieroglyphics. It just blew my mind. I was like, that's true. There's just they're drawings. So it's also visual. It's just another way of expressing it, right? So I think we're visual storytellers. It's both. It's both. We just have to keep enhancing those areas that we need to keep learning more on how to keep daydreaming. Because as I say in class, when we dream, we still do the same thing. Now, when we're awake, it takes more effort because either though you do images or words, you have to take a time and think. But I want to see your observation. You were talking about something about your um, images coming to life.
Yes, definitely. Just in the example that Susana gave and having people, I love street photography. Like I just love it and everything that is cultural. But in a way, I don't want to sound selfish, but it's not that I don't think about the other people, but I think about the place. It's like I'm not thinking about what those people have in their mind, but it's like, oh my God, this place, all the people that come through every single day, they come and go, and it's so
Wow, those are two very different ways of looking the world, definitely. Because she was talking more about the people and you're more the places. Look at how I see it. This is I remember I was speaking with one of my scientist friends. He's an astrobiologist. So he gets to study potential life in other planets, right? And I was telling him, you know how I think. When I look at a mountain, and I see maybe somebody in the other side of the mountain, right? I immediately start thinking what that person is going through. What's he doing? Why is he doing there? And I see the place also. And it gets my curiosity going so hard. So I told him that. And I asked him, I want to know how you see it. And he's like, well, we're trying to go to other planets, right? Like Mars and stuff like that. I'm thinking what's happening in those planets. I'm thinking about what's happening. It just blew my mind. Like, there's some people that have been thinking of this story so much, they're already transcending, right? But I want to see now your reaction. Yeah.
Because I was thinking that, and when you go to a mall or a restaurant and you see a person sitting by themselves, I always think like, what is that person going through? You know, is he sitting by himself or themselves because they want to, because they have to, are they sad? Because sometimes you enjoy being alone, but your first reaction, or at least that's for me, is uh, like, poor person, why is he sitting alone? Why is she sitting alone? And I think about that too, like, what is happening? What are they going through? Because you see people on the street every day and you have no idea what they're going through. And they can be having the worst time of their lives, the worst day of their lives, and you won't even realize. I think that for me, that's how I view the world.
Yeah.
I can bypass and I can like obviate everything else. I don't fixate on the visual things, or like, why is this lamp here, or why is this here, or the color. I don't. It's not something that calls my attention.
Yeah, totally understand.
I would like to add something. It's just when you mention the details, I think I am. I do look at the details so much, but I see the world in synchronicities too. And is what you mentioned about your friend is that's why I think about places, because after we're gone, after our story passes like 50, 60, 100 million years after we're there, is this mountain still going to be there? Is it still going to be the same way? So when someone comes, they don't want to know my story. They want to know the story of the mountain. So when we go to other planets, it's the same. And I think that's why I don't think so much in stories as words, because I'm also a traveler and I have encountered other languages that I don't know. And it's so difficult to communicate through words, especially being Latinas, right? And when you come into a new place and you don't have the words, even though they sound similar and people are like, I don't know what you're saying, right? But you make a drawing or you show something, show them something visual or even with sound, and it connects people a lot more than words. I feel like that's how I learn how to communicate with people rather than so many words.
Talking about sound and places, I just really, really want to know, to your point, it sparks my curiosity. For example, I just really, really want to know if a tree falls when no one's looking, does it make a sound? And especially in a mountain, like I imagine this mountain, I imagine this lonely tree falling. Like that creates a huge curiosity on me. And I want to tell that story.
Definitely, but it's like that's a tree story, and I'm not there to tell the story. Sorry, I'm there to tell the story of what happened after the tree fell and how I found it.
And how do you think like those stories? What do you think about us Latinos can that makes those stories unique?
Those kind of stories.
But for example, I told you this make me think a lot of. The other day I was I live in a small town here in Florida, and I went to the museum, to the town museum, and I just saw a lot of paintings from their story, right? And the museum person was giving me the tour. And at the end of the tour, he was telling me, "Where are you from?" And I told him Puerto Rico. And he was like, "There was a Puerto Rican who worked here for many years." And I just, "Really?" And he was like, "Yeah, you see all of those paintings of our story? He painted those." I just couldn't believe it. And then it makes sense because his style of drawing was definitely Puerto Rican. So it was, yes, he was telling the town story, but through his eyes. So how do you think it brings, yeah.
And I think the cultural background influences a lot on how we view the world. I I come from a very colorful place. Medellin is very colorful, very warm, and I think that's how I view the world too. And when you step out of it and you encounter all of these different cultures and different quality of people, it's hard in a way, but it also shapes the way you view the world. So it has absolutely influenced a lot of my art and my voice in art, like I said in the beginning, where I come from. And I can see also the differences between Mel, who grew up, and you, who grew up in Puerto Rico, and I, that grew up in Colombia, or people that grew up in other countries, Mexico, or, even here. It's very different. And the value that it adds to each project, it's undescribable because it has the roots, because your project, it's their own thing, but it talks about you, right? You as an artist. It's not just the art. And it has your roots in your upbringing. And I think that's a very strong thing and a very hard and great asset that we have as Latinos. Because individually, even though we're a community of like the whole Latino community, each country has their own background and has their own voice and has their own um, quality of people. And you growing up to that, you bring that into your art. So I think that's, yeah, I don't know.
I would like to touch on that. Uh, and that's the thing. When we're back home, it's like everyone is doing the same thing,
Yeah.
right? So when you go somewhere else, you shine because you're unique. You bring something different to the table. And I feel like being in this country and being a culture of so mixed people, it's beautiful, especially as creators, because we bring a piece of our home to create something different. So we're creating a new home, a new community, that it's still it's even better, right? It's like this beautiful mix of beliefs and memories and everything. So for creators, that's literally the ultimate goal, right? Because you are creating something that is not there. And yeah, then we just stand up amongst a lot of people, like you mentioned with the person in the museum. Maybe we see that art style a lot back home in the museums, and you can recognize it, and it feels like home. It's cool, but you see it everywhere. So seeing it somewhere else outside home, is very shocking to you. It gives you like that pride and even an inspiration. Why? Because that person made it into, hey, I know this, and this person had that same view, and it's up there, so we can also bring that, and that's where we open doors for other people too, because people can see it and they can get inspired. And it's like, hey, if my culture, my things, my art, that art that is from home is somewhere else in the world, what's stopping me from going somewhere else and do the same?
Yeah, we have a saying in Spanish, I don't know if it's in English also, that nobody rules in their own kingdom, right? It happened to me a lot because even though I I, I happened to made it to be a little bit of outstanding in the island, when I remember they took me to Spain one time to give lectures in a university in Malaga. Oh my God, I felt it very immediately. They were treating me with like a uniqueness, like I was from outer space or something. I was like, no, I'm very actually normal in my hometown. I'm not outstanding there, but there they were treating me so amazingly. And also when I got here, also you get to feel it. And it's because yeah, you sound different, you look different, but I I have learned to appreciate it because at least I use it to my advantage, definitely. And but I feel a sense of responsibility to give my best my best stories, my best uniqueness, my best everything. And obviously to also take in account all of the other cultures and maybe mix them up. I like to mix every stuff up. I think that's where the story gets really good because it can get boring very fast also, right? So I like the different worldviews, especially us as visual artists. We always have to keep evolving, always, always. Not get stuck in only one visual era, and to continue evolving to do better imagery. But I think you guys are doing a great job now because other thing you have in common is that you're young and powerful and upcoming now in the industry. I do want to know through your views, through your worldview, what do you think holds for the future, especially because you're in the digital generation, right? And now we call it digital media. What do you think the future holds for you in the creativity aspect?
Okay, so for me, I love it. I love that question because I always see the future. That is my main thing, creating the future. And it's not just for me, like I say, it's for people that come after me. Again, my story is gonna pass, it's gonna be long gone, but someone else is gonna see something related, whatever stayed there. And with the digital era, it's so beautiful because the opportunities are endless. Even with the use of AI, I see it as a tool as well. The AI gives you back what you feed it. So it depends how you use it. So if you use it as an ally, as a coworker, as a teacher, that is what you're going to get. So for the future, I think we just need to inspire and create space for others so they can continue to create and see what's possible. And just by being curious, you expand your brain, right? The being curious, I can't even tell what's possible. Like what we saw with the LED screens now, like the Mandalorian and whatnot, that was beautiful. We went from models to those screens. And I'm like, I don't know if this is what George Lucas had as a dream, but I don't know, it got my heart going because I'm like, I didn't even know this was possible. And this is going to be so dumb in the future. People are gonna see that as an old technology. I don't even know we're gonna have holograms like walking around, right? And I love sci-fi, and that is the future that I want. That is the possibility. But I think there's the sense of humanity that we need to keep with that. And it's like what you mentioned in other planets, and you even asked this question in one of the classes, right? If there's like one thing to send out there from humanity, right? What is gonna stay from us? And that is very, very difficult. But personally, I think it's art. Art is that one thing that it doesn't matter how you create it, what tools you use. It's not about the colors, it's not so much about the story, it's more about the feeling. Because we all humans experience we don't have the same experience, but somehow we share similar emotions. And that is the art that transcends. That is the art that stays. So personally, I don't know what the future holds, but I know it's gonna be so bright, especially for females. The future is female. Like I'm telling you, now that we have louder voices, now that let me rephrase that because we don't have louder voices. Now that we have space to use our voice, it's beautiful. Like the female energy is also the energy of creation. We hold that within us and we inspire that to other people. So having women in strong leadership positions just open the doors for not just other people, but people to be more vulnerable, more sensible, and more creative.
Okay, that was a lot to take in. There's a few things there. One, they give me goosebumps was the to preserve art. I think if you have to send a message, definitely art will be, I think, the number one. That's a really good, strong one. Which or what type of art will be the question, right? But it's definitely art. I think music is very up there. I think it should be music. I don't know why. Maybe something visual, but I don't know. I don't know. Now, definitely in sense of the woman, what I think is you definitely need to tell the female stories. I think now that you have the means to tell stories, yeah, tell your stories. And I think your story is important and it needs to be told. I think you've always been telling stories, but now you get to also tell it through cinema, and of course, it's gonna be also a very meaningful stories. Your turn.
Oh, how am I gonna beat
Yeah, I don't
that?
know. I don't know. Yeah, good luck. I don't want to be you right now.
No, but like for me personally, for my future, I see like going back to the question.
Yeah, yeah. Going back to the question.
I don't know. I think just keep creating stuff, learning to do things more visually. Definitely, that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to. Learning to do, color theory or color sensations and stuff like that. That is something that I'm very excited about, and creating stuff with it, challenging myself, getting out of my comfort zone, and also the future in general. I agree with the AI part because it's here to stay, and we need to learn how to use it in our advantage and not turning against us, because we can ourselves, we can turn it against us. um but I think it is a very helpful tool to create. Like we can use the help and create things even better than just preventing us from, because it might, be something bad. And to just take out the taboo of, because it's a new thing, then it's bad, or it's gonna take like jobs from us or stuff like that. We just need to learn how to use it properly. But definitely like AI, or like you said with the LED panels, that is crazy that they can just build a set and film a sunset like shot in 10 hours. That's just amazing. Um,
Yeah, you talk about the George Lucas dream. He definitely, what I think is more than the technology itself, what I'm enjoying is the democratization of art. I think cinema, because of its birth, was a very elitist tool, but now because of the digital era, George Lucas in a making of, I have never gotten the chance to find the video again, but I think it's one of my making ofs of the movies of Star Wars or something. He did mention something. He did because the interview asked him something about digital cinema at the time, because remember before it was analog, right? Film. And now he did mention, well, you see have you ever seen America's Funniest Videos? You remember those? He mentioned all of those are basically films, people doing their stories. It blew my mind because then I saw, okay, if the digital keeps going this way, eventually all of us, women, children, men, elderly, every person will be able to tell their own stories.
we're already doing it because
Yeah.
it's so accessible now.
Yeah.
We can film, even the professionals are filming movies with their phones.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that it's so accessible now, and we have the resources. We are very blessed to have more resources than that, but everybody nowadays can film an entire movie with great audio, great quality, edit it on their phones, like you say, like you saw in CapCut with that young girl. She edited a great video in a couple minutes. It's really easy and it's really accessible now. So that's another thing that's we're going to, and we're gonna get there. Like everyone is gonna have basically a movie quality, a professional quality cameras on their pockets. Like it's just crazy.
I see it like that. Like I was wanting a TV interview, and I know I hate this is a hot topic, right? I said, well, I think I might get in trouble for this, but this is how I feel, and especially me because I'm professor. You know, they were gonna kill me on the spot, but they brought three generations of filmmakers, right? We were all colleagues, but I was the youngest one. I was the one supposedly to talk about the future, right? And they were asking about would I use film if I had the chance, or I'm just gonna keep digital cameras. And I just speak out loud. I said, you know, I'm not going back. I respect the art of film. I definitely do. But if it wasn't for digital cameras, I wouldn't be here because I wasn't. I was the casual, ordinary guy with no tools, with no knowledge. but digital cameras give me a chance. And now I see all these new upcoming people that can do their stories. But I don't care if it's their phone, audio, music, I don't care what it is, tell your story. And I think that's beautiful that the digitalization is giving that opportunity.
I want to add something, and just to differ from you, I personally love to bridge that analog world with the digital world because that's what brought us here. And I love film, and I'm talking about film, like real film, and I love film photography. It brings back something that is a little bit more ancestral, right? And which is the craft, the actually making something.
It's the craftsmanship, it's an art form.
It really is. And it's something that becomes more and more niche. So the people,
And more expensive also.
because it's the supply and demand.
Yeah.
So there's not going to be too many people that are going to do this in the future, and the ones that keep doing it, they become experts in the matter, right? So these people become very, very rare. Not only that, the ability of everyone making their own story public and the use of AI, let's just say AI cannot replicate human emotion. It can replicate it, but it cannot create it. It cannot feel it, right? It can understand what we say it feels like and what not, but it cannot create it. It cannot feel it. So with that, we still, like I mentioned, we still need to hold on to our human side and to the craft, our humanity. And that comes from being successful in your own way with the craft, right?
I'm gonna push back a little bit there.
Yeah.
That humanity is gonna come actually the opposite way. It's gonna come through our failures, through our humanity that we're not perfect.
But definitely, then that's why we need to allow ourselves to not have the best camera in our pockets at all time, to not be seen at all times and wanting to be the best and all these things. We need to learn how to be vulnerable, how to fail, how to have the not best equipment. How do we used to do it? Maybe you don't need to know all the history of it and try it, but just having the understanding of where it comes from and still trying and failing, because if you always try and you succeed, that is even going to take the fun out of it.
And you're not evolving the art form.
Exactly. Why would people do it if it's already so perfect? You don't need to do it anymore.
So my take on that is that we keep creating new stuff, and every year there's a new phone with the new technology, a new camera, so we're never satisfied with what we have, and we're never going to have the last thing, or even if we do, we're just going to keep wanting more because that's what makes us human. And I think you valuing the film, like where we came from, it's a really good form of appreciating the art, but it's not sustainable. You know what I mean? Because it's expensive now because there's not enough, the supply and demand, like you were saying. And the how do you say it? Accessibility. Yeah, sorry. um, of having the resources. It allows people to create stuff that has never been created before. Like everything does, but now with the technology and going forward, we're just going to keep improving that technology. And it's like I kind of made the similarity of driving a car, because nowadays almost nobody drives a manual car, like a manual transmission car. I don't know how to drive it, but I know how to drive my car, and it's automatic. And I can learn that, but it's not something that I will use.
That's right. You're looking at it in a very, very practical, scientific way, and that's really good that you brought this reference. I was gonna bring another one, but the car one is very good because not even there people are driving automatic cars, but there are good drivers and there are bad drivers. Now, I'm gonna go a little bit down the rabbit hole to bring more clarity to what I'm trying to say. And it's an idea merged with something that also George Lucas said. I forgot how he said it exactly, but everybody has the technology to write. And writing is actually a very, very, very complex technology. We take it for granted. There's actually two technologies there. The first one is actually the written words. That is actually a very complex technology that evolved with us for so many years. The other one is a more globalist technology, is the pen, the wooden pen, the pencil, because to only to create a pencil, it has to travel the whole world. It's not only the wood, the eraser, the tint, everything of that pen across the entire globe to get to your hands. So now you have a piece of paper, piece of pen, and the words that you had to do classes to learn just to write. And everybody that lives in a privileged world society knows how to write, right? Now the question will be, how many of all of those written skills person will write a good meaningful story, or a good meaningful poetry, or a good meaningful work of art? We can say saying the same thing about using the same technology about drawing, but can we draw a very meaningful piece of art, right? And I think that is the question that will happen now with video. Now everybody can make videos. Who's gonna do meaningful stories with those videos?
And I also wanted to say something, and it's the new technology. Nowadays, they're bringing up things from the past. Like, remember what we talked about the Christopher Nolan, The Odyssey?
Yeah.
We talked about that, and it's
And
that
it's saved on film.
I know it's being filmed on film. But there's like new technology created just for the making of this movie, and they're huge cameras that brought back what was like plenty of years ago, the upbringing of film, but it's being reinvented. So ultimately, we're just going back to go forward. You know what I mean?
Back
So-
to the future.
Back to the future.
Really.
But yeah, I just think we just need to adapt, and the past will always be there. We're gonna have to. We can look back at it. We can use it. It's still there. It will be there. But we just need to keep evolving, because if not, we're just gonna take steps back. And
I'm a Christopher Nolan fan, and I appreciate his preserving the arts craft of film. It is something that we all value as filmmakers, definitely. Now, in my reality, um, digital was the one who gave me the opportunity going back again, and now it's going even further. And I talk about this in my upcoming book. It's also called "Don't Complain but Write." This time, "Don't Complain and Write." Is that with AI, for example, that is the new frontier of technology, right? With AI, I used to have a lot of scripts, right? Some of those scripts, I have done them using digital cameras with a creative team and with the means that I have in front of me. And those are stories that I have got the chance to told. But I got many more stories, some of them that I will never be able to told. And that's kind of sad, right? But now, actually, suddenly technology is knocking through my door and say, hey, you know what? Maybe you do can tell also those stories, because now you have also the means, and that's democratization. Because Christopher Nolan has amazing stories, but he has the means. Again, now I'm not saying everybody's gonna be a Christopher Nolan. That's not. But now all of us have the chance to try it out. Okay, to tell what we have inside. You want something to say, right?
Um, kind of. That is why we also have world builders, right?
Yeah.
And again, that is the beauty of bringing people together. I'm not against AI at all, but let's say that we have more and more technology that also keeps us kind of more reserved to ourselves and not sharing too much with others that have what we lack, right? Because then I'm just depending on a software that can do it for me rather than connecting with other people. And that goes back to the human side of it, right? The connecting with others, the exploring, the getting to know each other's stories. How can we mix these stories to make something better rather than it's just my story, my reality, what I want, and something makes it for me?
That's true. I'm gonna close this circle with this, because we can just keep diving in the rabbit hole. It's a really good conversation. This kind of already happened with calculator, for example. Nobody even thinks about it, but once upon a time, you had to do all the math before you use a calculator. Now you don't even think about it. I pretty much know that people have not learned how to do math without the calculator now than before. Now, I think with AI, definitely it will depend on everybody's individual um, convictions on not to lose. And I'm going to be very specific with this because I just learned this yesterday talking to the English professor. He told me we can't lose the liberty to think, the freedom to think. And I think that's going to be very important for us creators to value our freedom to think and create our own ideas using the tool of AI. And that's going to be the I guess no one really knows, but we have to thrive to that because if not, obviously humanity is over then.
I feel like that is part of our job as creators, like I mentioned, inspiring, right? So it's like, oh, if I could do it, you can do it too. How did I do it? Well, I use my brain and I use my thoughts and my life experience. So I hope that you also have your life experience and yeah, use your resources.
But I think it's already happening. To art always challenge the system, right? And it's already happening. For example, when we do films, when we tell stories, the popular demand on today's era is fiction, but it wasn't always like that. Once upon a time, documentaries, live action, was actually what people were doing when cinema became to be. They were recording trains in the station, people getting out of work. Then we discovered fiction and we got obsessed about fictional storytelling, and that's good, right? But now I think we're actually going back to that because look at podcasts, look at this. For example, this podcast, an AI can't fake this because we are living human beings that people want to maybe share or listen to our stories in a very live, we're alive way. In fictional, it will be, I guess, maybe more difficult to sustain that magic, right? Because AI is really good making fictional stuff, but not reality interviews, for example. But hey, this was a great conversation. I think we could continue on moving down the deep in the rabbit hole. But I guess that will be for a future podcast. So please let everybody know where they can find these amazing young women Latina filmmakers here in Florida. Do you have a web page or do you have something? What are you doing? Let everybody know where they can learn more about you.
Me? Okay. Well, I'm on Instagram. Basically, that's my main social media, and it's at Susie Salazar and underscore. That's it. I basically just use Instagram so far.
For me, my username is Astro Recall, and you can find me on Instagram. I have some sub pages, but
That's
they're
the
too
main.
complex. Yeah, that's the main. It's gonna take you to all of them, and yeah, I don't just have film. I have my personal experience as a human in this world. So hopefully, everybody can feel validated and somehow and get inspired.
So there you go, ladies and gents. Here we got this amazing, and we can't wait to see your future movies, your future short films, documentaries, whatever you're about to do. So keep in touch with them. Also, keep in touch with the Filmmakers Room if you like this content, you like future videos. Remember to subscribe, to hit like, to comment, to share, all that good stuff. You can also follow me with Andrew Hernández, director, in all of the platforms: Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever. Honestly, and you can follow the Filmmakers Room also especially in YouTube, where we upload this complete video. So thank you very much, and I guess we see you in the next one.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you for
Thank you for
having
having
us.
us.